Most gardeners don't realize it, but what we often call soil is just dirt until it's alive. True soil is a living community filled with bacteria, fungi, and tiny creatures constantly breaking down organic matter into plant food. When that life disappears, everything slows down. Plants stall, roots struggle, and water either sits on the surface or drains too fast. The fix doesn't start with fertilizer, it starts with diagnosis. The old-fashioned way to tell if your soil is dead still works better than any test kit. Once you know what signs to look for, reviving it becomes a clear step-by-step process that brings fertility and resilience back naturally. You can feel living soil before you can see it. A simple handful tells the truth. Scoop up a bit of soil after watering and press it gently in your palm. If it holds together like a soft sponge before crumbling apart, that's living structure, the result of microbial glue binding particles into aggregates. If it turns to mud or dust, it's dead. That loss of structure means the fungal webs and bacterial exudates that once held it together are gone. To start rebuilding this structure, mix 2 inches of well-rotted compost into the top 6 inches of your bed, then cover it with a 2-inch layer of straw or leaf mulch. Water until it feels like a wrung-out sponge. Within a few weeks, that surface crust softens and small white fungal strands begin reappearing, the earliest signs of rebirth. You know, the smell of the soil really does reveal what's happening below the surface. Healthy soil gives off a clean, earthy scent, and that's all thanks to geosmin, a compound produced by soil bacteria. It's the same smell you notice right after a rain shower, and it means those microbes are breathing and active. But if your garden bed smells sour, metallic, or, well, have no scent at all, that's a sign that microbial life has pretty much crashed. The fastest way to reintroduce that life is through compost tea. Just mix 1 cup of compost or worm castings in 5 litres of dechlorinated water. Add a spoonful of molasses and let it sit for 48 hours, giving it a stir now and then. Then pour it directly over the soil and mulch once a week for 3 weeks. The sugar wakes up dormant microbes, while the compost introduces fresh colonies that begin recolonizing those root zones. The earthy scent will return as oxygen and life balance out again. You know, soil color really tells us a lot about its energy and carbon levels. The darker the soil, the more carbon it contains and the more microbial activity is going on beneath the surface. When you see rich black-brown soil, that's a sign of high humus content and, well, healthy organic cycles at work. On the other hand, if the soil looks pale, dull, or even reddish, it usually means that organic matter has burned away, either through oxidation or just plain neglect. So to rebuild that lovely dark color, you'll want to add organic carbon in the right ratio. Mix 3 parts shredded dry material, like leaves, paper, or straw, with 1 part nitrogen source, such as green weeds or compost. Then just spread a 1-inch layer of this blend evenly across your beds and make sure to keep it moist. Over the course of about 4 to 6 weeks, microbes will do their job, breaking it all down into dark humus. The transformation is, honestly, quite visible. Those pale patches gradually turn coffee brown, the soil structure loosens up, and you'll notice moisture begins to hold evenly again. Earthworm activity is honestly the simplest test of living soil. You don't need a microscope, just a spade, really. Dig 1 square foot of soil about 6 inches deep and count how many worms appear. A healthy living bed should have at least 5 or more. If none are found, the soil probably lacks food, cover, or air. To attract them, add organic matter they can digest. Spread a thin layer, about 1 inch, of moist compost, then mulch with shredded leaves or half-rotted grass. Keep it damp, but not waterlogged. Worms move in within weeks once the food and temperature conditions are right. Their castings are pure fertility, rich in enzymes, microbes, and minerals that transform a once dead patch into a balanced ecosystem. Temperature and water movement reveal soil respiration. Soil that dries out in a day or overheats in the sun has lost its microbial balance. Living soil maintains a stable internal temperature because organisms retain water and release carbon dioxide as they breathe. Use a soil thermometer or your hand. If it feels warm and dry just below the surface, even after watering, life is missing. Fix this by creating a moisture-retaining layer. Mix 1 inch of compost into the top few inches, water deeply, and then cover with 2 inches of mulch. Over time, moisture will start to hold evenly and temperatures will stay stable. This consistency allows microbes to reproduce, fungi to spread, and roots to grow without stress. Reviving dead soil starts with feeding microbes, not plants. When soil dies, most gardeners reach for fertilizers, but that skips the cause. Fertilizers feed plants directly. Microbes feed the system that feeds the plants. The revival formula is simple but powerful. Oxygen, moisture, and organic matter. Start by loosening compacted ground with a garden fork instead of tilling. It aerates without destroying structure. Mix 1 part compost, 1 part aged manure, and 2 parts dry organic matter, like leaves or straw. Spread this blend over your bed at a thickness of about 2 inches water well and let it rest under mulch. Within a month, the mix will start decomposing into humus, and the soil's color, texture, and smell will change noticeably. Encouraging fungi completes the revival process. These networks connect everything underground, transporting nutrients and stabilizing soil aggregates. To encourage fungal growth, avoid disturbing the soil and keep it covered at all times. You can brew a fungal-rich drench using, well, just a handful of leaf mold mixed with 5 liters of water and a spoonful of molasses. Let it sit for about 3 days, then pour it over the soil weekly for, say, a month. The surface will develop white webbing, proof that fungi are, in fact, recolonizing and rebuilding structure. This fungal network binds everything together, creating soil that breathes, drains, and holds nutrients naturally. When these changes begin, darkening color, softer texture, fresh smell, stable moisture, you'll know your soil isn't just dirt anymore, it's alive, and from that point forward, it will feed your plants instead of you feeding them. The forgotten art of reading soil by touch, sight, and smell still works because soil is a living language once you learn to listen. To keep learning how to restore soil health naturally using regenerative methods and simple practical steps, subscribe to Soil Doctor and share this guide with other gardeners who want to bring their soil back to life, permanently and sustainably.